name is Cyph Morrison, and this is This Week in Car Audio. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Yeah. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio.
Welcome to This Week in Cardio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, co-hosted by the internet sensation, the newly getting it going again kind of guy about the DB drag stuff, Mr. Jeffrey Fernandez. What's going on, Jeff?
Nothing much, Doug. Doing okay. It's a beautiful sunny day in SoCal. Back to how it used to be, the rain's gone. It was like 70 plus degrees today. I can't complain. How were you doing? How was your birthday last week?
Just a birthday. I worked 32 hours on my birthday,
Jeez.
Same old.
How were you doing? How was your birthday last week?
Hold on. I worked stuff in the 32 hours. All right, let me try and get that fixed. Yeah, so it's just another day. I'm getting my house ready for sale. So
Your birthday last week?
Man, that's so bad. All right, I worked stuff in the 32 hours. I got multiple things happening in my headphones. There we go. I got it all fixed now. There we go. Craig Ball, Mr. Retired Willie Nelson, Jeremiah Vegas popping in. So what's up, fellas?
Nice.
All right, I'm sharing. So I worked the 32-hour shift, did a little bowling. Same old stuff I always do. It's just another day. I don't care about going around the sun. It same old for me.
That's how I feel. Like especially when my birthday's on a weekday. It's just any old day. But if it's on a weekend or on my day off, that's like when you turn it up.
That's when you turn it up.
When you turn it up.
Well, I don't drink or do any of that stuff. So what kind of turning up is that? I will. Okay. So this Saturday I went bowling, right? Okay. And this young man. So in bowling, whoever's the last bowler is what they call the anchor, and it's usually the best bowler on the pair ends up being the anchor. So I go in, I sign in on the lane, and this is all individual, not a big deal stuff. And this young feller says, "Sir, I'm the anchor bowler on this pair." I said, "You are?"
Calling you
all right. And so he switched his name, made him the anchor bowler on the pair. I go, "Well, since you're the anchor bowler, how about we go $10 a game, 20 games, $20 for series?" So at about 2 frames left in the last game of the night, he's all, "Dude, who the hell are you?" I said, "Well, just a nobody who just took $50 from you." So,
dang. Hustler.
Yeah, well, hey, dude, you know how long it's been since I've been able to go bowling and somebody not know who I am? That's freaking awesome. It was so easy to take that guy's money.
Poor guy.
Carlos Rodriguez in the chat, another one of those Vegas folk. Man, we're getting all kinds of Vegas folk up in here. Felicia Ball up in here. Spencer Stanislans is, what's up? Staniland, he ain't from Vegas, though. He's a Canuck. No. He's one of those Canuck fellas. But speaking of all these people from Vegas, our guest today, Mr. Thomas Lingard. What's up, Thomas?
Hi, everybody. How are you?
So
first up, can I say happy belated birthday?
Oh, thank you. Hold on. I've got to read the list that Thomas sent me. So if you guys didn't catch this in the chat, all right, here it is. So he was the first ever DB drag Psychlone world champion. This was in Oklahoma City. He came out, tested, did all that. And I don't remember exactly whoops, what it door Uncle Tom? Oh, that's Vegas. Whoops.
What it do, Uncle
What it
Tom?
do?
Oh, what it do? And then Johnny Benyon, like Benyon
Vegas.
Casinos. I know
That's our Vegas guy. Yeah.
yeah, Vegas style in the house. Anyway, back to so he's first world champion for Cyclone. Two-time Base Wars championship, the old school and the death match. Well, I mean, just look at the guy. He doesn't have a choice but to be a death match guy. Or old school, sorry. Arizona.
No, I agree with deathmatch.
Arizona MECA BOBOS, which is best of.
Best of show.
Yep.
5 categories.
Wow.
There you go. State champion in USAC 0 to 150 champion.
Way back in the day.
Yep. And then USAC sound quality judge competing over 40 years. So that's a list of accomplishments. So if anybody ever has any, the Facebook thing still doesn't work, Jeffrey. Just so you know.
Okay. I'll just read them out.
I should try and figure it out someday, but I don't know. I got tomorrow off work, so I might do it tomorrow, but I got to get my house ready for sale. So we're working. I did some plaster stuff on this weekend. I did a little fishing when I came home today, just to do something different. Caught me a 4.5 pounder in like 6 casts. Snapped off another big one. It's just, man. But anyway, so we got enough about us. We got Thomas in here. Thomas, hey, so you've seen our show before.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us how you got started into car audio?
You got 90 minutes?
Oh.
No. I want to say 83, 84. That's when I lived in California. Wasn't into car audio. I had a 1970 Cadillac doing the hot rod stuff to it, because I had the 472 in it. So Pep Boys was my friend.
Oh, yeah.
So I had all kinds of, glass packs and all that good stuff.
Uh-huh.
Me and my dad he worked at an electronics repair place. So we went to CES for the very first time.
Okay.
Went down there. I saw a hearse. I think you know where this is going. I saw Wayne Harris's hearse, Exterminator.
Uh-huh.
He was there. This was when he was with MTX. This was before Rockford.
Yep.
This was when he was with MTX. The 324s, the 812s underneath.
Dang.
He wore a T-shirt. He wore jeans. He was awesome. I got to sit in the car. He turned it up, and it just blew my mind. I was like, holy moly, this is a world I've never been about. Mm-hmm. And back then, I don't know how long you've been going to CES, but back then they actually did a car audio competition. So they had the competition outside. I saw a bunch of car audio cars back in the day, but it was always all manufacturer stuff. But I fell in love with the hearse. I was like, this is simply amazing. And also at the same show, there was another hearse, could have been an ambulance. It was called the Ghost Blasters. It was in the PPI booth.
Okay.
And it had 101 speakers in it. It had, I want to say 27 PPI amps, and the speakers were somebody else. And there were these 2 junkyard guys that found the ambulance and built it up as a car stereo. But that's what got me into car audio. So I was like, I went back home and I'm like, I told my friends, this is amazing. I want to get into something like this. So I had my Cadillac, and I had the real long hair. All my friends, we all had the real long hair. We used to go down, cruise Hollywood Boulevard, and then when they close, you go Sunset.
Right.
You go down to the rock clubs and stuff like that. I was like, I want to put something loud in it. So I, dumb school kid, I had a $300 J.C. Penney credit card. Went to J.C. Penney, got Fisher. It was a Fisher, a home speaker.
Right.
15, a 4, and a tweeter. One of my friends, his dad was a carpenter. So we built a box that sat on the back seat of the Cadillac. Took all the speakers out of the cabinet and put it in this box.
Okay.
Ran it off the factory deck in my Cadillac. We were cruise Hollywood like that. And I was like, I need more. This just isn't loud enough. And we weren't playing anything with bass. We were playing Metallica, Slayer, Venom. Mm-hmm. So I went to a store in California by UCLA. It was called Equalizer. And I think they were the one that built the Boss Equalizer armor truck, but I can't remember.
That was Sam Horn out of
Horn.
Okay. Well, it was Equalizer. And I know
They
it
may have
once.
had it because
I remember they had it once.
okay, because Sam let it travel the country. So
Okay. So I bought 4 Pyramid 12s and 2 Pyramid 100-watt amps.
mm-hmm.
Built a new box to go on the back seat. Played 4 12s, nothing else. Full range. 2 Pyramid amplifiers. So like we were rocking down Hollywood Boulevard going, yeah, nobody can touch us. And then this little white Maxima pulled up next to me, just beating the doors off my car. I was like, oh my God, that's loud. And I was like, what do you got in there? You know, I was like, what do you got in there? And this is kind of like the Alma Gates story. The guy said to me, speakers. I'm like, oh no, what kind of speakers? He goes, speakers. That's what I got in here. And I was like, well, that pissed me off. That pissed me off a little bit. So I went to a show in California, and at the door, they were handing out cards. A shop called A&G Custom Sound. They're out of Santa Fe Springs in California, and it said box building and stereos. I'm like, you know what? I want to go and check them out, see what I can get. I want something a little bit louder, and in case I see the guy with the Maxima again. So I went there, talked to them, wound up going 4 Kicker 15s in a wall. I had Phonics. It was a Zeus. It was a Series 3, so it was a Z Zeus, Z built Zeus.
Yes.
And I would go down.
I still have a Series 3 Cyclops and Odin. Odin is the 150 and the Cyclops is the 100.
Yep.
So both Series 3.
So you went all in like right away.
Oh no, I went all in.
Hold on.
A wall?
Tristan out of Barbados says thought he was going to say the one and only Radio Shack. And then
not wrong, Radio Shack.
No, and Craig Ball says 1984. Most of us weren't even born yet. Damn you old. And Adrian Hernandez with, oh, it's Grandpa Tom.
Yeah, they know now.
There you go.
Anyway,
well, I went to A&G and they did a whole thing. It wasn't just the subs. I had an 8-4 or 8. It was all kicker and 8-inch Freer 5.3 on the sides, and we did the doors, two coax two coaxes in each door. It was full on. So I went down to Hollywood with my friend. Well, one friend, because now we only have the one seat. Beating down the bricks. And I found the guy with the white Maxima. I'm like, yeah, I got speakers too. And I was destroying him. And that's when the cop on the bicycle pulled up next to me, which I wasn't seeing him. He was like, oh, can you turn it down, please? But that's what got me into being ridiculously stupid loud. And the funny thing is, here's the funny thing about the whole story. I was at A&G, because eventually I wound up working there for him. I was at A&G and they were doing some tune-ups on the car. And that guy in the white Maxima pulled up. His car was built at A&G.
Ah.
Which was funny.
Was he running pyramids and all that?
No, he had two Kicker 15s in the trunk.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was an all-kicker system. But yeah, that's how I got into full-blown, let's just get stupid loud.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was, I think I've only had 2 systems that weren't walls. I was just.
I mean, that time frame there, the Punch were really good subwoofers back then too. They were phenomenal subs. And then, because I remember a guy in Reno, Brad Balatin, he owns Nevada Auto Sound in Reno now. At that time, he was just an installer, and he put 1610s in a 64 Beetle. Wow. And it was pretty, I mean, just literally everywhere in any direction you can imagine. It was just an insane. But I bought my first real amplifier, $750 for a Punch 150 out of that van or out of that Beetle.
Wow.
So
you still got it?
No. So it blew. Remember Rockford Fosgate was doing they were doing that tour for DB Drag, right? They were going around to circuit cities and all that stuff, but it was Rockford Fosgate. Anyway, I literally, before the week before my first DB Drag, I threw it away. I blew it I had kept it for like 7-8 years. The day before my birthday, my first DB drag, I threw it away. And I went to the Rockford Fosgate. I was like, hey, yeah, I just got rid of my Rockford Fosgate. He's all, what do you have? I go punch 150, and he pulled up a picture of it. Because this is before cell phone days, right? Because this was 98, 99. And so he grabs a picture. He's like, dude, is it this one? I'm like, because it was before all the, it was the first series. And he goes, did it have this knob on the end and this? And he showed me that. And I go, oh, yeah, I just threw it away yesterday. Guy goes, if you can go home and find that, I will fix it for $0 for you. That was the best amplifier. That was the first amplifier that guy ever worked on at Rockford. And he said it was the best one they ever built. It was all of an 800-watt amplifier that was marketed at 150 watts. And this is something that was 800 watts back in the mid-'80s, 88, 87 time frame.
That was big back then.
That was huge.
A lot of watts back then.
Yeah.
Well, and the speakers were more efficient, so
yeah, so,
you can do some damage.
Well, like I said, so that guy had all those speakers in that bug. He had 350-watt amplifiers to run all those speakers, and they were loud as hell.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, because back then, your efficiency on I can tell you from experience, the Kicker C series, the gold letter, pre-stitch, not post-stitch, but pre-stitch when they were just glued. And you were like 104 dB efficient. So you didn't need power. It was fantastic.
Right. Jeremiah says $1 per watt, 250 watts subs, baby. Funky puppy for the win.
Well, if I could get my hands on a funky pup, I would get one.
Does it really exist?
Oh yeah, it's a real company.
It is.
Oh, no way.
They were out of LA. Right? Weren't they out of LA? I think it's the same guys that were part of a Dyer and stuff like that. I think it was that same group of guys. They kind of did the Funky Puppy and some other off brands like that.
They were notorious for blowing all the time.
Yes,
but they got but for some reason they got this reputation that they were god level subs.
Yes.
And I think a couple of years ago, didn't somebody buy the brand and release 400 or 500 just to sell because people would buy them? I could have sworn.
Huh.
But then again, I'm old, so who knows?
Little senile.
What did I eat for breakfast yesterday? But I can remember back to 84. So tell me how that's working.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Jeremiah says Funky Puppy was basically pyramid level subs.
There you go.
The first Pyramid Phase 3 I bought was a clear polycone 6-inch subwoofer in a box behind the seat of my truck, and the box was the full length of the back of behind the seat. And so that was my first Pyramid Phase 3 subwoofer. And then shortly after that, that's when I bought M&M Godfathers. So,
those are nice.
Dude, those were the shiznit back in the days.
I'll tell you what, for back in the day.
There he goes. Jeremiah says he had 4 clear 8s.
Yeah. Pyramid was a good product.
It was.
As long as you didn't abuse it. If you used it the way it was I know you say that. I mean, now you've got a 2,500 watt sub that people are putting AK to, and that's fine. But back then, they were rated at 150. If you put 150, a good clean 150, the things will last you, and they sounded good in a proper box. It's it's low level stuff. That's why all my systems, because of my upbringing and stuff like that, bringing in car audio, I'm saying, I 100% believe entry level is a good way to go because you can do stuff with the entry level. Yep. All my systems, even right now, I've got FI SSDs. That's their entry level sub, and I have them in there. All my systems, I started out with the DD 9012. I had DD 9012s or 9010s. I've had SSD, the crazy, subs that are like $12 a piece. I always like to use entry level to show you can use entry level product and get it to work properly as long as you build the box. It's not always the product. It's not always the speaker. It's the install. It's everything that you put in behind it. And I've always just tried to run all my systems. I've never done anything huge. It's always been, okay, here's an entry level sub. Let's see what we can do with it. Granted, here's a disclaimer. I've got 1610s. So
Right.
I've got a lot of cone force, which helps in making the entry level work. I mean, yeah, you do 112, it's going to sound good, but you're not going to be blowing anybody away. But
No.
I've got a lot of speakers, so I have a lot of cone space. So yeah, you can use entry. For me, that's the way I've always felt. Let me try entry level product.
What were the blue Tornado subs?
MTX, weren't they?
No, the ones that they sold at Circuit City and stuff. The Kenwood Tornadoes or something like that, or they were plastic.
I know Kenwood makes a Tornado sub because they've actually got an enclosure. It's supposed to sit under your seat.
Right.
But I don't remember them being blue. I thought they were black.
No. So when they first came out, they were blue. And Jacob Fincher, he lives out there in Moreno Valley. And he used to buy those. You could buy 2 10s inside of a box and an amp for $100 from Circuit City.
It's a deal.
That's how cheap they are. Yeah, they had the blue polycones for a bit. Anyway, so he was able to buy 4 of those 10s and do 150 in the street class, just to prove that $10 subs, it didn't matter if you knew how to build stuff. Yeah, that's it. And Jeremiah said, yeah, buy one, get one, Circuit City all day. That's what I did. Woody, yes, Kenwood had the blue Tornado subs. And like I said, the same thing, right? When Jacob and I talked about it, it was real simple. It was, hey, these things are super efficient. It's a street class, doesn't allow you to add a lot of power. So let's get a super efficient sub and make the box right, and they'll perform. And it worked out awesome.
I'm a firm believer in that 100% because all my systems have always been, I want entry level subs because I want to prove you can make an entry level sub impressive because it's not just a sub. A lot of people are like, oh, it's a product. It's a sub. You got to get the best subs. It's like, no, it's technically the box. I think the box is 100% the most important thing. Then your amplification, you get a nice, good, clean amplifier, and then the wiring, because not many people like the wiring. I'm all about wiring, but back in the day, that's what we needed to do. That's what we needed to do to make things work. So we didn't have all the new fancy stuff that you have now.
Yeah.
So speaking of, can you describe your vehicle as it is now?
Okay, it's a 2003 Mazda Protege 5. My first show that I competed in DB Drag at Doug's show in California, in Northern California. It's the same exact vehicle. I've had it for all this time.
Yeah.
Forbidden Fantasies down in
Paris
Islands?
No, this one was in The first time I went to one of your shows was in Northern California.
Okay.
It was at a fairground.
Autorama.
I remember it was at a fairground, and there were pig pens all around for like a rodeo.
Yep.
Well, it was like set up like a rodeo, but it was like a fairground / rodeo setup.
Cal Expo?
Did you go to the one that we did during the
Fresno?
county fair? No. We did a county fair. Okay, so I did have one in Fresno where we were inside the animal stalls, but we actually did a dirt oval, and then that was up in Redding at the county fair for Redding. But
I think it was the first one because I remember
Fresno.
We were surrounded by the livestock.
Okay, so that would have been Jay's Alarms.
There were some vehicles.
So was there a concert going on? I'm almost positive there was a concert going on. So
Blue?
Blue?
That's just my answer if I don't know. Blue?
Oh. No, I think it was.
I don't remember a concert.
I think it might have been Too Short or what's that?
E40?
E40. They did most of the shows, so out there in Fresno.
Just a little anecdote about that, and I'll answer your question. Give me a second. The show I went to, the very first TV Drag, I would on the weekend go to any show I could find. Well, that weekend I couldn't find any shows, and I saw, hey, there's a DB Drag show, so I left and went down there. Never done DB Drag ever in my life.
Oh.
And I went down there and I asked Doug, hey, I've never done DB Drag. I don't know what your rules are. I don't know how things work. And he told me, just go talk to other competitors and they'll help you out. Well, back in that time for DB Drag, everybody, I don't know if it was a California thing or what, but everybody had their own little niche. And
No.
if you weren't part of their niche, they wouldn't talk to you. I would go try to talk to people, and they would just like, yeah, okay, and ignore me and brush me off. But there was one guy that had a van. I think it had
Old Man Mike.
Well, had a whole ton of 15s.
Yes.
Was
He's
it a whole
talking
ton of
about
15s?
old Man Mike McClellan.
Yeah.
Really nice guy. Walked me
R.I.P.
through everything. When I went to compete, he went with me and said, okay, this is what you need to do for DB-Drag. This is what you need to do. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But at first I was kind of leery because it was like, okay, why is nobody talking to me? They're all in their little niches. Why? I don't get it. It's not like that anymore. But yeah, back then it was. I was like, oh, this is kind of discouraging. But that guy with the van, super amazing. He was, I think he was there by himself too, or he might have been with a team. I don't remember.
That would have been before he was with the team. He just started competing. But that's Old Man Mike, we called him.
Amazing person.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that was the only time I ever saw him, but
okay, so he passed like 2 years ago, Jeffrey?
I think a little more than that.
May have been longer than that. Anyway,
Yeah.
so anyway, he moved up to Canada because that's where his kid lives. And so he moved and he was working at Crossfire as
that's right.
Like a forklift driver or something for you guys. Is that what he was doing at Crossfire?
I think an all around.
Just a grunt.
All around. Yeah, pretty much.
But he lived in his van, so he actually lived inside of his speaker box.
I think he was actually staying with Roger too.
Oh, was he?
For some time. Yeah.
Okay.
He was working up there. That was before my tenure there at Crossfire, but
yeah. So no, Old Man Mike, great dude. Loved him. Everybody loved him. One of my best memories of Old Man Mike is we decided to do a show on Halloween, and he has this big white van. Well, a couple of people dressed up their cars. He goes, no, that's not how we dress up a car. So my kids were there, and he let my kids draw Halloween stuff all over the side of his van. So they had Sharpies and all kinds of stuff, and so they, he allowed them to do the Sharpie and all that crap all over the side of his van. And he had 815s, 6 or 815s. And I looked in his box. I go, Mike, I can fix you. And he was because he was doing like a 136 with all that power. And I go, watch this. Take all that you got right there. I need you to flip it over, face it like this, move that there. First number, he does a 152. From a 138 or 136 to a 152 instantly by just reconfiguring his box. And, that shows you that the box is what made that what it was. It wasn't the speakers. Because he was using Lanzar. He was using literally flea market Lanzar subs and amps.
I think that's basically the era, I guess you could say, of when efficiency was king.
Yes.
Now it's like put everything you can type of mentality in your vehicle to get the numbers up there. So maybe that's one way you could kind of differentiate the eras. Was efficiency was king back then, and then now it's just like all out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the guy was amazing. He was in my class. He beat me by 20 dB. And I'll tell you what, you are a USAC competitor your whole life and you go to DB drag, it's humbling. Because I was down 5.5 dB of what I was expecting, and it's like, this is humbling. But
that's
but it was
from the kick to the dash.
From the kick with the door open, so you're creating a vent, to dash shield, and it's just like, okay, I see I'm not with these people. But I just want to throw that little anecdote in there. Yeah, because you got the old man for stories. Anyway, Jeffrey, go into my car. It's a 2003 Mazda Protege 5. It was a 2-year model.
Okay.
It's a hatchback. I've got 16 FI10s, the SSDs. So they're the entry level. It's a ported box. And when we built the box, when I had my box builder build it, it's kind of like in a V. But I told them what I want is I go to shows, I get demos from people, and they got the box at the B pillar, and you're on the dash. I said, no, I want a 6'3" guy to get my car, put the seat back, lean it back if he has to, and be comfortable getting a demo. So everyone's like, oh, you built a V. I'm like, no, technically it was built so I can get the seat to go all the way back and lean back so bigger people can be comfortable, because I always hated getting in pickups. I'm on the dash going, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. I can't breathe because I'm a fat guy, but okay, this is cool. But it's
a ported V?
It's a V, and the top, it's a top port. Top port.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's tuned to, I believe it was tuned to 42, and it peaks at 50. So that's my note is 50. It was built by DFG, just a basic box, but it was built in the car. So it wasn't a box put in. Like the floor is fiberglass, and then the box builder took a panel, measured it, took it out, did the trimming, put it in, mounted it, and then the next panel, and then the next panel. So it's a Lego box, basically. It's not pre-built. It's a Lego box, and we had to do a lot of measuring to figure out the airspace. It's 18 cubes, and after Jeremy, he went in, fiberglassed it, 90-degreed all the stuff. So we're thinking we're about 15 cubes right now for the 16. It's Common Air. It's Common Air 16 cubes. So I got that. Running 4. We just upgraded to 4 incriminator audio 8Ks. IX 8.1s. I had IX 6.1s in there, and we just upgraded it to the 8.1s because everyone said you should do it, and I was
more power.
Right. No, that was already too much power with the 6Ks, and everyone's like, you should upgrade to 8Ks. I'm one of those people like, all right, let's do it. So we got that. I've got and I hope this is okay to say. I got a JP 13.2, down for sound 13.2, the AB, the big AB. That's running my doors. It's a 2-channel. It's getting 1,300 watts out of it. It's all dynamated. There's no wood, the roof or anything like that. I'm old school. I built this car when I bought it in 2003. So it's all dynamated. 3 layers on the roof, 3 layers in the door. Hatch has 2 layers. So went with the Dynamat on it to make it solid. I'm running a Kenwood Exelon. Here we go. Ready. KDC X998. It's a 15-year-old deck. Wow. So yeah, I'm using that. That's my DSP right now. I'm also using the built-in DSP because I like it. The only thing I don't like about the Kenwood DSP is the EQ. It's a 13-band EQ, but it's across the board. It's not like there's one for front, rear, or sub. It's just one EQ. So that's the only thing I don't like about it. But other than that, it still does good. And it gets me, I got all those BOBOS with it, just tuning by ear.
Yeah.
My electrical, we took out the power steering pump and we put in 2 Autotech, it's the 270s, 270 GM 410 alternators, two externally regulated, and I've got a Brand X external regulator. Charging at cold at startup, it's at 16. When it heats up, I'm down at 15.8. So it's at 15.8, and I've got 180 amp hour C-Max lithium bank in the back.
How much does it drop during a run? With
the 6.1s, because I'm running strapped. I'm running them strapped, so I'm getting 35,000 out of it. It's like 17 each pair, so I'm at 35,000. I would drop from 15.8 to about 15.3. And
that was never the thing back in the day.
Oh my God! No.
You'd be 15. Like, okay, I dropped to 9.9. My amps almost blew up.
Trust me, Jeremy can tell you, I was notorious for 10 volts and just keep dealing with 10 volts.
Yeah.
And he would always yell at me, "Don't do it." I'm like, but it's still playing.
that's the red zone.
That's the red zone. Well, that's when I was running AGM batteries. I had 6 AGM batteries, and then we swapped it out for the C-Max.
Did you train your AGMs?
To do.
Oh, he wasn't even down with the training.
I put them in, and I got Toolmaker bus bars that went through across all of them.
No. So AGMs, you can train them so that we call them like hypercells. So instead of sitting at 12.6 or 12.8, they would sit at 13.6, 13.9. And
an AGM?
An AGM. You can train them to do that. The problem is they when they discharge, and I mean, it's not a problem. It's what we were going for when we were competing. When they discharge now. And
wow.
So basically some people call them hypercharge or whatever, but we called it training the batteries. Apparently you didn't do that. Tom
No,
would
I
sit
didn't
at
know
13
anything about that.
Yeah, he said Tom would sit at 13.1 with his AGMs. But
I
I'm
would?
guessing
To
that's
start?
what Jeremiah says.
Huh.
But I'm guessing that's
yours,
with your alternators though.
No, because back then I only had one. Was it MECMAN? I had one MECMAN 370, and it just never did anything for me.
Where's the AGM training?
Yeah.
It's a little trick you had to do with the chargers. So you would overstill. The problem was if you didn't know what you were doing, you can blow up the AGMs.
See, batteries scare me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was okay with the AGMs. I was used to them. I was like, okay, I know. I had a fire extinguisher in the car.
Right.
But you're running C-Max now.
But like I'm saying, right now, I'm honest. I'm scared of the C-Max.
Yeah.
I saw what they would do as far as voltage drop. I loved it. I was like, I gotta go with the C-Max, and we were able to get the C-Max, and I like it, but they scare the heck out of me. I don't understand them. My problem is I know a lot of smart people, and they explain it to me like I'm a smart person. No, explain the battery to me like I'm a 3-year-old, but they explain it to me like I'm a smart person. I have no idea, but all I know is I've heard that if you take care of them, do everything right, you have no problem. But anything that goes wrong, overcharge, undercharge, that they blow
compression, all that stuff. Yeah.
So right now, the only thing I would like to do as far as an upgrade to the car, I'm happy with the car right now. In fact, I just spent over $2,000 fixing a rip in my firewall because my brakes went out, and it ripped the brake booster right off because my firewall shredded. Anyway, the one thing I have planned to do with the car that I would like to, I haven't dedicated yet, but I'd like to is get the C-Max out and go with the excess power, the Teen Titan 90. They say
they're lithium, right?
Yeah, well, it's SKIB.
Okay.
I guess SKIB is a lot safer than C-Max.
Okay.
So that's what I want to do, but it's something I'm still thinking about. It's a lot safer. Everyone says SKIB is so much safer.
Okay.
And like I said, 90 amp hour will get me 60,000, where my 180 C-Max is good for 50. So I mean, I see benefits there where it's safer, and I could get a little bit more out of it. So that's the only plan I have for the car. It really is. It was too loud with the 6.1s. I mean, USAC, I was doing a 63 in the kick.
It's pretty legit.
On a 3-minute death match, which is in the kick, but you play music for 3 minutes. I was at a straight solid 60. So I mean, the car is already stupid loud as it is. I haven't done it in bass or in DB drag, but the old school. It's the same thing, sealed on the dash, and you can only play like Dirty Diana, Flashdance, or Hard Habit to Break. Well, Dirty Diana is 50, which is my note. So I know sealed on the dash, it's doing a 58. And I can verify that it's the same because at Showdown 3 years ago, I did DB drag, and I did a 58.5. Sealed on the dash, the same thing as I did with old school. So I'm happy. It's destroying the trip in the car. I mean, it's a little cheap, thin metal car.
Yes, it is.
But once you get bit by the bug, you keep going. But that's my only plan I have. I'm thinking about it. I haven't dedicated myself.
How many would you say? How many iterations of your vehicle have you had throughout the years since you bought it in 2003?
This Mazda. This is my second system in it. The first one was 1610.
Okay.
The first one was 1610 sealed. And when I went to that show, the Doug show in Northern California, it was a sealed box, and it was Fosgate P1s. I was running 16 Fosgate P1s and 2 Kicker XS100s. And that was the system. So as far as the box goes, it's 2. I had the sealed box for 1610s, and then I had the ported box. And the funny thing is, the 1610s, I had a dream. It was a dream. I had 1610s in the car. So I woke up, went down to Ultimate Audio or Ultimate X. It was a box store, big chain box store. Went down there, talked to my installer there, and I said, I had a dream last night. I can do 1610s. And he goes, you can't. I'm like, no, I had a dream. I said, it was in a dream. I went to a show at 1610, so I want that in my car. Can't. no, you can. He's like, I can.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, he called me and he says, bring your car down. I started doing some math and I think I could get them. But it was sealed and P1s because, buy one, get one. Back to my, let me do entry-level subs.
Right.
But I've only had the 2 boxes in there. The one now, the sealed, and the one before, which was
okay.
But as far as the hatch, I'm constantly rebuilding the hatch. You may see, I have people all the time.
Rebuilding the hatch?
Well, changing out the amps.
Oh, okay.
I can't tell you how many different amps I have had in there. And I'll pull up to a show and people are like, oh, you still got that? And I'm like, no, I changed it. So yeah, like as far as amplifiers, the power and stuff like that, I've 10 plus different complete pull out, rebuild.
10 plus.
10 plus different setups. But as far as inside the car, it's been the same. I'm one of those people. I've had almost everybody in our club has had their hands in my car. And a lot of the major
club being
stuff,
Vegas style, right?
Vegas style, yeah, Vegas style. And as far as the box and stuff like that, I'm dedicated to people that do work on my car. I don't like to change anything. I'm dedicated to, I want to stay with this box. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, you can do 8 10s in there and be louder. I'm like, but this box was built by my friend Steven. Jeremy was inside my box with refiberglass. I don't want to change the box. I don't want to change.
How did you get him into a box?
Trust me, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. But yeah, I'm one of those people. But I think this is my last setup. I think I'm done with it. I want to get it a little bit pretty. I'm taking out the JP amp. I'm changing my mids because I'm running Focal mids. 2 6s in each door, 2 tweets in the pillar, and they don't really like the bass very much. It's Focal. They're fantastic. I love Focal. One of my favorite speakers. And then JL are my favorite mids. Okay. But yeah, I'm going with sky high 6s in the doors because I think they can handle the pressure of the bass a little bit more. And I'm taking out the Focal tweeters and putting in JL audio tweeters because they handle more power. The C3s do 75, and I got a JL Tweak 88, so that's going to be my new DSP. So I got new incriminator amps, so I can have everything all incriminator back there.
And what'd you do with the old ones? Sold them within your group, the old incriminator amps?
My 6.1s are upstairs because they were the first amp that's what got me to my 63. So I'm keeping them as these got me in 63. I still have my IA 40.1s because that was actually the first amp I had, first incriminator, my 40.1s, and I still have those upstairs because those are the amps that got me my first 60.
Okay. So with 40 years of competing behind you, is there one show that was a favorite or any of that you'd ever been to?
Do you mind me mentioning another organization?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
2. Let me give you 2.
Okay.
The first one was during the pandemic. USAC did an online show. Every Sunday during the pandemic, 5 cars, and it was online. And people would vote for whatever car they liked. I thought that was a blast. It was amazing. It was a fun show. I liked that. That was really neat. And, of course, my second one was, the finals, the USAC / DB-JAG finals where I got my Psychlone.
Oklahoma.
Yeah. Because, I've done your show on DB-JAG, but, there were California people. Going to finals, I had always said DB-JAG is like the rocket scientists of the car audio world, while USAC was the fun people that were like, oh, let's just build something and get loud. And I would go look, I'd go walk over and go look at the cars in DB-JAG side because they were in the same building, just one side was DB-JAG. And because I'm a tweaker, I do SQ and all that stuff. So like I'm looking at the build. I'm a judge, so I'm looking at the builds going, I love the way they did the wires. I love the way their interconnects are. I love the way that, the boxes. It's stuff like that that's really amazing. And that was way beyond what I would ever dream of doing. So, but that was my favorite show because that's where I got, this 6-foot monster.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun show. And it was funny because I wasn't a DB-JAG competitor. I'd only done 3 DB-JAG shows before that final. So I'm in my little corner, over at the in Oklahoma. I'm in my little corner playing my little car and stuff like that. I don't remember who came up to me. It was one of the.
I think it was Wayne, wasn't it?
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But someone came up to me and said, "Would you like to compete in Psychlone?" I was like, "But I'm not a DB Drag member. I don't compete in DB Drag." He goes, "Well, no, this is a first-year Psychlone. We're trying to get the thing noticed, and we would like people to try it at finals, and maybe get some feedback, see what they think about it." And I was like, "Well, okay, I guess." My car had rear fill. You know, even though I had a wall, I had rear fill in the front of the back doors. My wiring, it was all SQ quality. So I mean, and, Psychlone. I don't know if it's changed since.
It has.
Okay.
There's no install score. So
you would get 10 points for fusing.
Right.
You'd get 10 points for wire management. Security, how secure your amps were, and I got 10 points in every category. The only thing I lacked in was the 10 P110 sealed. Don't play low. So I never got all those bonus points. But I wound up taking the championship because I don't know if you remember back then. I don't know if that was the only year. There were actually two. There was amateur and there was pro.
Okay.
So the A team out of Canada, they took the Psychlone Pro.
Okay.
But I claim, and I stick to this, I claim that I'm the first world champion because they announced amateur first.
There you go.
Yep, for other people, that was the year Brian Nyman won his 29.9 base race world championship, and he was so drunk he couldn't even stand up and still won the 29.9 base race championship. So
that's funny.
And so was this before like Gary Killian was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was the first, and Gary Killian took it from me.
Yeah.
We actually became really good friends because of Psychlone, because he was the next champion. And the funny thing, we'd go to shows together and we would always just hang out and chit chat and have a good time. Really nice guy. Actually, I blew the motor in my Mazda, blew a head gasket, and he got me a motor out of wherever he's at, because the work he was in, he was able to do it. And he actually found me a motor and shipped it out to me. So Gary Killian's an amazing human being. Yeah. But with me being the first one, and him being the one that took it from me, we've only, in this whole time, we've only had one competition together where we competed against each other. I got him on some of the install stuff, but he definitely destroyed me on points
SPL.
for 20 hertz. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I played at finals. I played DJ Magic Mike because I don't have anything that low,
Right.
So I was like, well, Feel the Bass. I know that goes a long time, and it's the same note, Feel the Bass 3 by DJ Magic Mike. So I just played that. But yeah, that was funny because there were 7 people in the amateur, and I wound up on top. I was like, cool.
That was the same year. Hold on a second. That sorry about that. That was the same year that the foreign competitor from another country came in, and he before we allowed spray foam inside the vents, and we were like wondering why all these European guys were getting so loud with these cars. And first thing I did, I looked at his car, and by the time I got done with his car, he lost 3.5 dB over what his car was because they were doing things that were not up to the standards of DB drag, and they were getting away with it. And one of them being they were filling all their vents with spray foam. And so the first time I went over to the guy's car, I'm like, hey, dude, you can't have that. You need to pull all your spray foam out. I come back. He spray painted it black.
Oh.
I was like, he's like, I got it removed. No, you didn't. It's black. Look.
Wow.
And I can touch it. And then he dug it out like I don't know, maybe like 2 inches back. And I said, okay, look, if I come back again next time, and you don't have all of this back, then you didn't compete at this show. It's that simple. You're not going to be able to run the lanes. And as soon as he got it all done, dude, there was so much spray foam all over the ground and this and that. And he came up to me and goes, you know you cost me 3.5 dB. Ma, I didn't cost you anything. The car's legal now. It's 3.5 dB quieter now that it's legal. I didn't cost you anything. So
what year was that?
What year was that?
I'm trying
He's
to
got
remember.
right behind you.
Finals was 09.
09.
09 is when I won this, yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
it would have been your first year as a judge, right?
'09. I think Chad Geary and we went in on a little Honda, and it was
That's
a
right,
no
the
wall
no-wall
Honda. Yeah,
Honda.
yeah. And I recall it was satellite finals too, right?
No. So Oklahoma was a all-together one.
Okay.
Because you're thinking the year after or the year before we did it up at Jim Jean's shop, and you had and that's when you had the Honda. That was the first year you brought out the Honda.
I remember we actually we ended up getting our butts kicked by some guys in Brazil, and that's what I remember in '09. I believe
yeah.
it was '09.
Did you guys take it to Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it was remote, as in there was 3 different locations. There was Brazil, Europe, and Oklahoma. So
yeah, we got spanked by the Brazilians.
The next year when I went to finals, the other organization.
Yeah, that's fine. But we don't hate on any organizations.
Okay.
Right. It's all
we want people to compete. So
yeah. Well, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
I was in the SQ class, and there's a guy from Mexico. He did his SPL, and I was like, okay, I got this wrapped up. I beat him by 10 dB on the SPL. Pulled out the box and put in another box for sound quality, and he beat the crap out of me in sound quality. And I was like, wait, what? Can't do that. You can't switch boxes. Yeah, that was disappointing.
Yeah. Was that in which class? In USAC?
It was USAC SQ.
You know what? I think that was the last year Ralph Randall ran USAC. I believe the year after that he sold it. It was either the year after Oklahoma or the year after that.
Yeah, it was sometime close to that.
Yeah, it was really close.
I remember the most about that was 2010. The thing I remember most about was there was a damn near fist fight because the SQ guys weren't happy with their scores, and I'm like, you don't see this in SPL.
How did they judge SQ? Yeah,
there was a judging sheet and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it still judged by ear inside the vehicle?
The vehicle. They had single seat, dual seat, all that good stuff. Center seat. Yeah, they did all that.
Weren't they using your car as the baseline though?
I don't think so.
Oh, it wasn't your car? I forgot whose car they were using as the baseline.
Yeah, I don't think they would ever use a car with a wall as their baseline.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was somebody's car. I can't remember whose it was, but they always used it as the baseline. And then I went to my first sound quality event because I started in sound quality, and that gentleman happened to be there. I'm like, how is anybody supposed to beat him? He's the baseline of what a perfect score is. Mm-hmm. So it's impossible to beat the baseline.
Right. So if you're in his class, you just know you can't compete.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so what kind of, you got to have some good stories from shows, parties before the shows, after the shows. You got any ones you'd like to share?
This is me. I'm a square.
L7 square, baby.
I'm an L7 square. I mean, I'm so bad. I was I don't know if you've ever been in a mini truck club, and they would have mini truck runs. And I was in a couple clubs here, and I would never go to a truck run because I've always heard what they do to virgins. People on the first truck run. Oh yeah, they'll tape you up in the bed of a truck, tape you to a hole. They'll spray you with foam and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I heard the horror stories, and I'm like, yeah, that's not me. That's not me.
I've gone to a couple of truck runs. I don't recall ever seeing that, but it was like Resolutions, I think was one back in the day. Yeah.
Any major truck run, they would do that to the virgins. Maybe there were no virgins when you went. Or you weren't there at super late at night when they were drinking and doing all that stuff.
So you would just kind of hang out then just by yourself, or?
I would never go to a truck run.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I would never go to. I don't trust my friends at the time. I don't trust them. They would have definitely done that stuff to me.
Well, I think it was like a whole weekend long, and you would get to camp out at the venue, right? Yep. So, there's a lot of crazy stuff could happen for sure.
Crazy stuff could happen. Let's see, fun stories. Going back to the finals. Mm-hmm. It was a really fun thing for me. It was really heartwarming. I think it's weird to say that. Steve Mick came up to me. Like I said, I was in the back corner all by myself, Steve Mick actually came up, checked out my car, sat in it, got a demo.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know who it was at first.
Mm-hmm.
I found out later it was Steve Mick, but yeah, he had a lot of encouraging words for me. He said, you should try DB Drag one day. Oops. Oops, sorry, hold on.
We can hear you.
Oh, he must have knocked out the.
Sorry about that. I'm animated, I guess. Yeah, but I found out later it was Steve Mick, and I had read about Steve Mick in the Auto Sound magazines. Like this guy's like.
What are magazines? Those are the websites on paper or something?
No.
Yeah. Auto Sound and Security. I had a subscription. I'm not admit I'm old.
We had a guy on here a couple of weeks ago from back in the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that thing. Yeah, RE editor or
Yep.
Mag editor.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I had heard about Steve from the magazines. I loved getting my magazines. You know, I seen stuff back east, all the shows. I'm like, oh my god, these cars are amazing. Saw a lot of amazing cars. But yeah, I got to meet Steve Mick, and he was like one of the nicest guys.
Yep.
It was very humbling to meet him because he just had nothing but encouraging words for me. And I'm like, well, I'm just a dopey guy over here with a stupid car with 16 P1 buy one get one free 10s.
Yeah.
But no, he was a really nice guy. He gave me a lot of encouragement. That was a fun time at a show. I know you talked to Jeremy about Jaffe shows. Jaffe shows are always a blast.
Yep.
You know, with the Frozen T-shirts and all the other contests he had.
Yep.
We won't go into the dirty old man thing because that was already covered last week. But yeah, Jaffe shows were always a blast. Yeah. I remember having good times at those shows.
Yeah.
I go have fun. I'm a competitor. I'm not. You know, I'm not loud like all these other guys. I mean, I know you're saying, oh yeah, you're not loud, 63, but I'm not, loud like these guys. I'm like, I want to go see, what the technology is out there, what the new products out there, what's happening. I mean, just for an example, like DSPs, everybody's running a DSP to do their system. Back in the day, and you guys would know, there were no DSPs. What
Time alignment.
You got a string.
Yep.
You got a string and put it to where the speaker goes, and it was always had to be up in the kick panel. You got a string, or if you were fancy, you had a laser. You do that. You build your A pillar pods, so everything was thing. There was no alignment. There was none of that stuff. So, I like to see.
If you get a chance, go back and listen to Steve Deckert on the podcast. That's definitely one of my most favorite podcasts we've done here. With Steve Deckert was a phenomenal podcast. It's not for everybody, but it was for me because he was talking time alignment and setting up cars and doing exactly what you're talking about, right? And it's important. I think part of what I want to also show on doing this podcast is how important it is to know where we came from and why this stuff is what it is now. And like adding a DSP is a straight cheat code compared to what we used to do, Right.
But I mean, there's nothing wrong with the DSP. No. I mean, it's a great way to get people to have good sounding systems.
Absolutely.
Back in the day, we had to go through trouble. I mean, I'm an SQ guy at heart. And back in the day, my heroes were Harry Kimura, and Speakerworks. I mean, those were my things. Sitting in those cars, getting demos from them, it was just like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. That's what got me really, of course, Wayne's first, but stuff like that, the SQ, because I've always been an SQ guy at heart, and that stuff just was like, oh my God, this sounds so magical.
Right. So, like I said, and it seems to me for you, it follows suit with everything else and the other people we've talked to on here is, you go to these shows and it's always surprising how cool and how just people are genuine at the show. And yeah, car audio is the reason you're there together, but man, the people are willing to help and be part. And I mean, look at your Team Vegas style, right? Even if you're not part of the team, they're willing to help people out, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing the type of people you meet in the car audio community.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely unique. The type of person you meet's unique. Their backgrounds are diverse. It is amazing the people that you meet in the car audio, and that's something I really always love. I mean, I'm sure you too, lifelong friends through car audio. Shoot, obviously longer than most of my listeners have been alive, right?
Yeah, apparently. Old Man Winter, would you like to see me yell at the clouds? Darn you clouds.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, you kids. Hey, this is Vegas. We don't have lawns.
That's right. You're not allowed to.
You're not allowed.
Xeriscape only.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, that's really cool. We appreciate your stories for sure.
That's all I got to offer.
And,
I know a lot of your people are like, that old stuff. What's pyramid? What's that? Like, and it's funny. Last week you mentioned Sherwood, and I got a big kick out of that because I ran Sherwood at one time. I'm like, yes. Unfortunately, sometimes we call it sure would be nice if it worked. But
it sure would be nice if it worked. Yes.
But then I got a kick out of it. I'm like, I know Sherwood.
Yep. So that's what us old guys can do. All right, guys. Well, we've ran up over our hour already.
Oh boy!
Told you it was really quick.
I wanted to ask.
Oh, go ahead, Jeffrey.
I wanted to ask Thomas a little known fact. Well,
okay.
I guess if you're part of the Vegas crew, you know that Thomas works at a casino.
Yes.
So, I mean, do you have any crazy stories from like the casino life outside of car audio? I'd like to know. I think one time at a show, I saw you get out of your car and you had a shirt.
I still have my work shirt on.
That said, it said IP for the old Imperial Palace, which is now the Link. But I was like, wow, so he works at a casino too, and he's doing this stuff. And
yeah, it was a Sunday show, and I probably just skipped out of work because I was the only one in the warehouse. I'd skip out, go do my runs at a show, and go back and clock out.
Okay. So was there any like crazy stories?
Jeremiah says, "Tell me the flood."
Oh, yeah, they're pretty prone to flooding at that area.
There was one year we had a flood. There was a taxi cab driver that decided to try to drive through the flood. It picked up his car and smashed him into a pole. And he then proceeded to pull his elderly passenger out on top of the roof. Well, I'm filming it. I'm like, I always do. I always film the floods. It's you know, across the street has a pirate ship. We have a flood. Well, then I got contacted by a news agency, some random, never heard of news agency. And they said, we would like to use your video because I put it up on Facebook. I always do. I said, yeah, sure. Why not? Mistake.
Oh,
I got fired.
Oh, no. For filming during work.
No, because the taxi cab driver tried to do a lawsuit saying I was showing him in a bad light. Like the dummy ran through a flooded area and it lifted his taxi. Well, they said they fired me, and then they said they got to do an investigation. They called me in to give my side of the story and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. What had happened was apparently their social media guidelines at that time, this was a long time ago, their social media guidelines weren't didn't cover not filming and stuff. Oh. So I got my job back. Oh. I got my job back. But after that, they rewrote completely their social media guidelines for the employees. No, so now whenever it floods, I walk around with my hands up going, no camera, no camera, no camera. But I'll be darned if everybody in the club, whenever it's raining, I always get messages, don't film. When is this ever going to go away?
I know. Yeah, I was going to say, so they have MySpace in their Angel Fire and MySpace as part of their guidelines nowadays.
Yeah, not anymore. Now it's pretty strict. I've read it and I had to sign it and I had to delete the video off my phone. So I'm a good boy now. I'm a good boy.
There you go.
But I've got lots of stories for you. You know, we're known as the Naked City for a reason, and I could tell you a lot of stories about the roller derby girls, about all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. Yeah, I can tell you all kinds of fun stories.
Is that why you moved to Vegas? Was
for more stories?
The bare naked.
You must not have been looking here. Let me do this again. That's me. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to know anything, but you hear all the stories. That's one of the fun things of working in a casino. You hear a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Jeffrey, does it surprise you I've never been to a strip club?
That doesn't surprise me.
Because I'm pretty square too, you know.
Neither have I.
Oh,
I've been to a strip club one time, and it was in the middle of the day when it was closed. I was remodeling it. That's the only time I've ever been in a strip club, and that was the nastiest ass place I've ever been in before, ever. Dude, the carpet was gross. The ceiling was gross.
Because you were there when the lights were on.
The lights were
so
on.
You got to go when the lights are off, and
so you don't see the nasty.
So you don't see the nasty stuff.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you went during the day for the buffet or something like that.
So they used to have that when we were building the bowling stadium in Reno. Right behind it is the Gentlemen's Club.
Okay.
It's literally right on the backside of the bowling stadium in Reno, 1 block off of Main Street. And a lot of guys there would go to the Gentlemen's Club for lunch.
Sure.
Get a lap dance and a meal, and then go back to work when we were building the bowling stadium.
They have good steaks.
That's what somebody said.
So everyone says about the strip club. Oh, they got good steaks.
That's what they said. That is he is not wrong. That's what they used to say.
$2 Tuesdays.
Yep. And then I would go to the sports book, which was the Reno Turf Club, on the other side of the bowling stadium, and you can get a hot dog and chili for $2.50. And so that's what I would do for lunch. And there was no debauchery in there other than all the gambling, obviously. So, but anyway, that young family guy, stuff like that. Once again, L7 Square, baby. That's
L7
me.
Square.
Not my subwoofers though.
Hey, I'm a kicker fan. I grew up with kickers.
Yeah, they were pretty decent subs. There's a reason that we had to change the rules to make the L7 not the same as a 12.
Make the 12 a 15.
That's right. All right, Jeffrey, why don't you hit Thomas with the last question?
All right, Thomas. This is you've seen the show before. This is a question that we ask all of our guests. Basically, we want to know, what is your definition of a basehead?
My definition of a basehead is somebody that enjoys the sport. And yes, I consider this a sport. I'm sure not many people do. I consider this a sport. I consider a basehead as somebody that enjoys the sport. They run what they can run, whatever they can afford, whatever they have limits to do. Someone that goes out and enjoys the show. Someone that goes out and checks out vehicles and gets demos and enjoys themselves, has a smile on their face. But they know they also have a system in their car where they hand out demos and they see the people get the smiles on their faces. To me, it doesn't matter if you're doing a 130 or 180. If you're out there enjoying yourself, if you're out there supporting the community, if you're having a good time, having a blast, not being crazy, just out there having fun. This is what you love to do. You spend the time in your garage if you're a built not bought, or if you took it to a shop and you're bought not built. As long as you're enjoying what you set out, you achieve one of your goals, and you may get more goals. I can't tell you how many times people come up to me and said, I'm going to build a system that beats you. And I'm like, I wish you would, because then you're supporting the industry.
Yep.
But to me, a basehead is not somebody that runs this brand, this brand, this brand. A basehead is somebody that runs what works for them, what they can afford, what they have the technology or the ability to run. Goes out, has a good time, talks to people, has a great time, because I hate to say it, it's a dying sport. It really is. It's not like when I would go and you'd have 70, 80 cars.
Right.
Now people say, oh, I had 60 entries. Yeah, but you had like 30 cars and everybody did multiple classes. This is when you had cars just lined up. If you're out there enjoying yourself, if you have passion, if you're booming and checking everybody out and not, screw that person, you're just out there having a good time. That to me is a basehead. Somebody that enjoys the sport, somebody that enjoys themselves and enjoys being around others that have the same passion. That to me is a basehead.
That's a great definition. I do want to say, even if your car's only doing a 130, give some demos.
Yeah.
The thing is if you have a passion for what you have, passion is contagious. And I promise you, even somebody like Thomas doing 160s, he will come in and sit in your 130 car, and he'll be happy that he sat in that car and got a demo from you.
At that finals I went to in 2009, I had people, because we had, people come off the street, ask me how my system was built. I was tearing apart panels to show them how I ran everything. because to me it's exciting and it gets people excited.
Yep.
The more people you get excited to,
Yeah.
you know, to do the sport will go on. You know,
It's
back in
kinda,
the
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
back in the day, it was just I was always encouraging people to support brick and mortar, but there's no brick and mortar anymore.
Mhm.
So now you get your stuff online, but there's nothing wrong with getting it online. If you have the passion, you want to do it. You know, I'll take my car apart to show everybody this is how I do it.
Yeah.
My hatch right now isn't even finished because I want to show people how I ran the wiring, how I got it fused. I want people to see how it's done. Maybe it gets them excited. Oh, I want to, you know, I'm doing a 132. I want to add another 12, you know, and maybe get up to 135, 136. Me and my buddy, we have a thing going on. That's, you know, I want to get a little bit louder. I'm out here to give advice. Anybody knows that they can ask me anything, and I'll give them advice about everything.
That's awesome. So it's kind of the opposite of what that guy in the Maxima kind of did to you back in the day, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of think in a way, you know, how we preach a lot of positivity here. But you know, it's okay to have maybe a couple of haters, just like that guy in the Maxima who, you know, didn't give you the time of day, because if that hadn't happened, you know, you wouldn't have got the motivation to, you know, build your system, you know, to go above and beyond just to, you know, take him out or whatever, you know, so.
Oh yeah, it gives you drive sometimes. And
yes.
I don't hate anybody for anything. I mean, it gave me encouragement, which was amazing.
Yes.
You know, at the time, I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks when you said that to me. But I mean, look at where I am now. You know, I've been doing this for 40 years. I pull up the show and people come up to, hey, Tom, how's it going? I haven't seen you at a show in a while. I'm like, hi.
That's awesome. Oh, and another thing from that 2009 World Finals, it was the year that they started the Oklahoma. What's the basketball team in Oklahoma?
Thunder.
They were doing
Thunder.
the tryouts for the OKC Thunder on the other side of the convention center we were in.
Really? I didn't know
that.
Interesting.
That's why we had to turn off our stereos on Sunday by 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. or something, because we were disrupting the OKC Thunder tryouts.
Darn kids, get off my lawn.
Oh, no.
Jeremiah says, Tom says, Gator, don't play that.
Gator, don't play that.
Gator. Is that a nickname of yours, Tom?
No, that's
no the other guys.
Yeah, the other guys.
The other guys. It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Okay. Jeffrey knows
tells
movies.
about his past, and you turn out he's a pimp that was named Gator.
Gator, don't play that.
Gator, don't play that. Better have Gator's money.
That's right. Don't make Gator get into this now. Nah, it's a funny movie. All right, Jeffrey, what you got? Thomas, where can people hit you up or talk to you or try and find you or what kind of thing?
I think on Facebook I'm King of K-pop Demos, and Instagram I think I'm Fun Times with Tom, or YouTube on Fun Times with Tom.
Hey, hold on. Be careful when you look up Fun Times with Tom. Make sure it's the right guy.
Uh-oh.
Look, it's because I travel going to amusement parks all over the world. So.
All right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was just in China a couple of weeks ago checking out. I got a house out there, and I went to an amusement park that just opened since COVID, and it was my first time being able to get back. So.
Awesome. All right,
cool.
Jeffrey, where are people going to find you? What you got going on behind you?
Oh, yeah, there we go. Over my right shoulder. I got the flyer up for the Advanced Car Stereo event going on in Riverside. I just talked to Santino. I messaged him. He said either him or another employee at the store there is going to be able to come on to the show next week and talk about the event and the shop and stuff. But it's on the DB Drag Racing calendar now. You guys can check it out. And again, don't forget, if you're a member of DB Drag, you could add it to your calendar and get that bonus point. So you can start racking up the points for finals ASAP. But definitely check them out if you guys are in the area. So I know I put it on Facebook events, and man, like the reception on it was like, wow, that's cool. You know, we got another DB Drag in SoCal. Let's go check it out. I think Joel hit me up, says he's going to come down. Rosa from Fresno is coming down also. So yeah, definitely check it out. dbdragracing.com/calendar.
All right. And then for me, Just, we aren't doing Autorama this year. IASCA's still going to be there. Hold on a second, guys. Got a tickle in my throat. Anyway, IASCA's going to be at Autorama this year. I am not going to be there with DB Drag, so we won't be the 5X weekend again. Got a lot of text. Dude, that sucks, this and that. So we're trying to get some things worked out. Greg Corbin says, very well done, Tom. My daughter says, what's up, Dougie Fresh? So she's the reason for Wichita, obviously. But yeah,
Man, I got a lot of monsters on the team.
You got a lot of monsters.
Monsters.
Yeah, Greg Corbin,
Oh yeah.
Dude,
Carlos, Phillip,
Jeremiah. Even though he sold that truck, how long was that thing that loud? I mean, dude.
Don't ever count him out.
No. Well, he'll get a hair up his ass one day, and he's gonna build something twice as loud as that.
He'll buy a shell of a car and tow it out there just to have.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate you, Tom. Tom, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thank you for having me.
It was a good time.
I didn't think this would last 20 minutes.
I know that's what he told us.
They all say that. Everybody says that.
But when we go offline, stay online, and Jeffrey
sir.
and I will talk to you for a couple minutes.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, hey guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in this week. We really appreciate it. Jeremiah says he's low key, no wall plotting.
Ooh.
But
news to me.
Anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in this week. Thank you to Thomas Lingard, Jeffrey Fernandez, great guest host as always.
Real quickly before you sign off, I just kind of wanted to say, I know right now it's kind of weird, but there's a lot of negativity in the car audio community. So just shout out to the guys like us that, want to keep things positive. So I'm glad we had Thomas on, all this positivity and, it's all contagious. But definitely just shout out all the guys that just being positive.
All right. Yeah, there's some stuff on Facebook or something.
Yeah, a lot of.
I don't go on there, right? So
that's probably best that you did it.
Okay.
That you don't. So.
But anyway, yeah. So I actually have an interview Wednesday for Dallas.
Oh, okay.
So
interview. I thought it was locked.
No. Well, you still got to go through the interview. It's in the. It's it's in company transfer. Okay. So. But you still have to do the interview process and make sure you're a good fit for the market that's out there. But anyway, so that I have on Wednesday. So awesome. Dallas may be coming sooner than I think.
Well, good luck. Yeah.
So
Dallas has Six Flags, Texas, over Texas.
Yeah, and I never got a chance to go there when I was living in Dallas.
Really?
Yeah. But I'd always pass it up though. It was like right out the freeway.
Is it near
rides.
Yeah, it's 2 blocks from
Arlington.
Dallas. Yeah, it's 2 blocks from Cowboy Stadium.
Oh, okay.
And our friend Eric Hansen used to work there, and he swore up and down he would give me free tickets, but he never did.
Oh.
Bummer, Eric.
So, but anyway, so Dallas may be coming sooner than I think.
Oh, well, that's a good thing because you don't get on Facebook, but there's a lot of DB Drag Dallas news and a lot of guys just itching for a show right now. So yeah, hopefully sooner the better.
All right. So, excuse me. Anyway, I want to thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you to Thomas. Thank you to Jeffrey. It was awesome having you on here. Great talk. We'll see you guys next week, 6:30 p.m. California time, because that's the only time that matters. We'll see you guys next week on This Week in Cardio.
Bye.
Peace. We out.